Happy hump day, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets. Powered by BETSPERTS, we are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson. Joining me, as always, doing his best to fight the cold weather with a warm t-shirt. Lovely parakeets, Andy. How are we doing today?
Yeah, the weather, I woke up, like I said, it was almost 10 below this morning. I said, two can play that game as a toucan pun. We're just going to cancel the show after that. Jesus, Andy. What are we doing? And this is a vacation shirt. I bought this before I went to
I guess those are toucans.
Turks, I think. Turks and Caicos. It's like, I'm going to buy something festive because that's how they dress down there, wearing toucan shirts. I was the only person. Either way, it was fine. So, not a lot went on yesterday. I went and saw the Spider-Man. I didn't even watch the bowl games. Like, it was very good. You can't explain things you liked about it without getting out spoilers, which I'm very anti-spoiler. But if you enjoy the Marvel movies, if you've enjoyed all the Marvel movies, you enjoy how they incorporate them and incorporate some humor. It's very, very good. And I love those two kids, the Zendayas and the Tom Hollands of the world. It was worth it. It was kind
Anything
of a
was
lark.
better than the new Matrix movie, which is what I watched yesterday. It was terrible.
I've not heard good things. I just basically the kids were being awful, and I asked my wife, I'm like, "Do you want to go to the movies?" And then also bonus, I logged into Fandango, and like even on the good IMAX screen or whatever, it was like $5 a ticket. And I was like, "Yeah, it's always $5 on Tuesdays." I didn't know it was like a special day. So like even with tax, it was like $12 to go to the movies, which that harkens back to yesteryear when you could actually go to the movies for under like $50. So good job. And yes, I would watch Spider-Man if I were you. The Gophers won. I didn't stay up for that. I set the score alert so it would pop up on my phone, let me know how it went in the morning. Congrats to my Minnesota Gophers for getting a kind of an ugly, gross win, apparently. I joked about it yesterday with somebody. It was like, hey, it's like playing a service academy. So if you turn the ball over, you might not get it back for like 20 minutes. And Minnesota did run the ball quite a bit with a lot of different running backs. Almost all the bowl games were played yesterday. Did you watch any, Alex?
A little bit. Watch Army get the team total in the first half. That was pretty good. The Houston Auburn game was kind of a
Air
clunker.
Force.
Sorry, Air Force. What did I say?
Yes, you said Army. It's a service academy. Same thing.
You know. Anyway, Air Force got their team total over in the first half, which was great. Yeah. That game was actually pretty fun. The Mississippi State game was kind of a boner. So 1-1 in college football yesterday for me. That was kind of clunky. And the Houston game was weird. It kept waiting for Auburn maybe to come back. I don't know. So I did. I watched quite a bit of college football, at least for me yesterday.
Yeah, I paid attention to the Air Force game for reasons just to cheer against Louisville for reasons unknown. And I ended up play a little bit on Air Force just because that was a fun bet to bet on. And the bet was, hey, Air Force can run all over this team. And then Air Force decides to be a passing team. They brought out the air raid, which was, I guess, exciting for that young quarterback. Sneaky, yeah. Zigged when they thought you were going to zag. 3 bowl games today. I don't know how much you've looked at these. We got the Pinstripe Bowl, like Dan mentioned. Virginia Tech wearing the cool helmets with the Yankees logo on one side due to their connection with the New York Yankees and the fact that it's played up there. But Maryland, clearly the team with the gas here and a little bit of steam. This was 3.5 yesterday. I like Maryland here. I got it yesterday actually at 3.5, but I'd probably still play it at 4 just because Virginia Tech can't be motivated whatsoever. Like they lost their coach, they lost their quarterback. They lost their quarterback's backup quarterback. It's a third string quarterback, decent running back. But if you're going to go one dimensional and just run the ball, Maryland's defense is decent enough, especially later in the season, to play with you. And I'm going to give it a try.
I like it.
Talia? Is it Talia? I just learned how to say Tua's last name, which I'm not going to do because I just said I can.
Still
you should
nervous.
Believe me. Tagliailoa. Damn it. That wasn't good.
Okay.
Anyway, Tua's younger brother. This is the start of his 2022 Heisman campaign. Like he was a Heisman candidate. He absolutely ruined that in the first game he stepped on the field. It was over, just like Sam Howell. But this is the first step towards getting the voters to look at you for next year because if he does have a nice season, he threw for 24 touchdowns, 3,500 yards. It was a decent season for him. It just, it started out poorly and he just never got into it. So yeah, if you want to watch some 6-6 teams go at it in a cold weather game early in the day, this game is for you. and
I
I'm
like Maryland. I was reading the Blogger Bowl post up on BetSperts. Matt Rooney and Phil Goff.
I don't know if it's Go or Goff. I'm going to say Goff.
Anyway, Phil and Matt,
I think
they
he's
do a good
Irish.
job writing up these games. I'm sorry, Phil likes Maryland. Looks like Matt has the over there. It does seem like Maryland's the play. See, I'll put them in something fun. I've got them clicked here first, but the next game was good too. And actually, again, not to steal from the blog here, but they both like Clemson here in this next game, so I'll probably find something to do with them. I think I found the beginnings of a degenerate parlay here, Andy.
Yeah, and I think Dan had written up these as well last night. I think he liked Clemson. Somebody I respected just tweeted out yesterday, bet Clemson at 2.5, so you don't have to bet 3 tomorrow. I tend to lean toward Clemson. This is like the disappointment bowl. Both of these teams are in the top 10 to start the season, and they're playing each other in the Cheez-It Bowl. Clemson, obviously, don't have to tell you. Clemson's been in some bigger bowl games than this in the past few years. So to drop into the Cheez-It Bowl isn't great for them. But yeah, I like Clemson here too. It's just you don't have Brees Hall. You have a quarterback with people know just because he's been there for a while. I don't think he's all that good. And their backup running back hasn't gotten a lot of play. He did well when he was in, but against a bigger, tougher Clemson team, we'll be missing their star receiver. But I still think has enough juice to beat an Iowa State team who was, I think, probably more disappointing. Clemson played well in the second half of the year, all things considered, for what they had. So yeah, I like Clemson.
It's still a good organization.
Yeah, I'm in on it. And they lost both coordinators, but they just boosted up some people inside. The continuity. I like continuity when you just go up from within. You have some continuity. There's a lot of that you don't have in bowl season with coaches leave. The next one's a good one to talk about. Like Lincoln Riley's in Los Angeles, Mario Cristobal's in Miami. Like this is if last one was the disappointment bowl, this is the interim coach bowl. Although Bob Stoops isn't a bad one to have at the helm. It's not like you have some wide receivers coach taking over. He's been around the block a few times.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know if you did. What did they? I didn't read Matt. I only looked at Dan so far. I didn't read Matt's Blogger Bowl so far. What did the boys like in this?
Both of them liked Oklahoma -7 here. I mean, they brought up the Bob Stoops angle. The team again has seemed to kind of galvanized actually around Lincoln Riley leaving, and again, it's a very talented team. It was a team that had a chance, I think, to be in the college playoff at points of the year. So both of them like Oklahoma, and they liked it at -7. So sell another point there. Get the better odds.
Yeah, I ended up in this over, just because I do like some things about Oklahoma. I like how they can. I like how they move the ball. Their quarterback should play. I like the Bob Stoops angle. I like Oregon, who did again lost their coach. In fact, they lost their offensive coordinator. He's going to go be the head coach at Akron, I believe, but he's still going to coordinate for this game. So a little bit of continuity there. And yeah, the Oklahoma defense. I've watched a couple of their games. They can be gashed here and there. So I like the over. I just want to cheer for a bunch of points in the late game here, and hopefully we play all three. If nobody is going to cancel at the last minute because of a SeaWorld trip, then hopefully we have a good day of football, because this is it. We don't have Thursday night football. We need bowl games for the rest of the week. Ooh, ATP Cup. When does that start? Are you answer the man?
It's I'll have to take a look. It's starting up. I don't know if it's tomorrow or in a couple days, but tennis will be back, and I may or may not, Andy, have just gone in and done the Degenerate Square favorites parlay, and I'm looking to see if I could do like an alt thing parlay. Let's see, like Maryland -6, take Oklahoma out to like -9, Clemson out to -6 or something.
Well,
so
college bowl pleaser.
Yeah, nothing like a favorites bowl pleaser, but. We'll see. I mean, I've done okay kind of randomly betting these polls.
You're hungry. Yeah, I'm surprised you're hungry for action, considering I can see your NBA card for today, where you have sprayed the board, my friend. That's fair. None of these are day games. Yeah, none of these are day games.
That's true. I had a tough night last night. Unfortunately, did the reverse sweep. It's the first one in quite some time, but we've had a pretty good season, so we're okay. And it felt good to lose a total by one basket. It's been a couple weeks since that's happened, but nice to get back into that rhythm. Looking at tonight, a huge slate, just a bunch of basketball games tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Again, always kind of what we have here on a Wednesday, and just a handful of angles I really like here. Some of these teams starting to get through some of this COVID nonsense. We're actually starting to see the injury reports shorten up a little bit. As we start to look at the matchups here, the first one up, the Dallas Mavericks was able to get this at -1.5. It's out to 2.5. We'll probably draw the line right there, maybe play -3 at something a little bit smaller here. But the Mavericks are going to visit a Sacramento Kings team that is starting to finally have some guys come back in that kind of transition game period where we've seen teams struggle a little bit as they reintegrate some of these guys back into the offense and kind of get them back into shape a little bit. The Mavericks still continue to miss Luka Doncic, and I think the market is just kind of underrating them for that. We often see those adjustments for stars are tough to make. The Mavericks actually are playing a really interesting and different style of basketball without Luka Doncic. They've gone away from being a little more of a wide open offense to embracing the advantages they have as just being a really big team. They're doing a good job of controlling the ball, keeping their turnovers down, which gives them more possessions. They're doing a great job of hitting the offensive glass. Again, just generating more possessions every night. They've been a great team the last week or so, and I'm happy to bet them, against the Kings team that does have some big men. They'll kind of push back a little bit here, but I'm happy to take a team that kind of knows what it is versus a team that's a little bit in flux. The Memphis Grizzlies -4.5. The Grizzlies have John Morant back. This actually looks like it's all the way out to 6. Probably missed the boat on this one. If you have something like a 5 or a 5.5 still around, 6 is probably a little too rich for my blood. Hopefully, maybe it'll bounce back. But hosting a Lakers team that is struggling to stay through the year. They are put together here, with scotch tape and paste at this point. LeBron James doing everything he can. I do like the changes that we're seeing in terms of them starting to play a little bit smaller, but going to be totally outmanned here tonight versus a Grizzlies team again. It's got kind of everybody back, has been playing well, and feeling pretty good about that tonight. Jazz -6.5. This is something, our shout out to our buddy Spread Astaire, who does a great kind of daily show on NBA. He has this theory called the superstar subtraction. Again, as I mentioned, books are tough. It's books and, again, modelers. It's tough to go through and kind of evaluate the value of a star. And when you have a player missing tonight, the Jazz will be without Donovan Mitchell. You often have value on that team in the first game, and I think this is a great spot for the Jazz. Yes, I'd rather them have Donovan Mitchell here tonight, but they go to Portland to face a Blazers team that's missing, just a whole chunk of their roster. Has played very poorly tonight. And the Jazz, again, have done well on the road, controlling the pace, playing very good defense and attacking kind of the second units. I think they're going to really take apart the Portland Trailblazers tonight. So 6.5, 7, that looks fine to me. And then a couple team total overs here. The New York Knicks, I've mentioned they've been struggling quite a bit. They've started to flatten out a little bit, starting to play better. And there is no better get right spot than a quick trip to Detroit, who's missing about half the team again in health and safety protocols. The Knicks are laying 7.5 points. Thought about that, but I see much more value here in this team total over 105.5, 106.5 looks good. I have them around 109. Make some tweaks. I can get them as high as 110, almost 111. Spurs team total over 109.5. Again, shout out to another one of our friends, Brett, who's always good about keeping me up to date on this. The Spurs averaging less than 14 seconds per possession, just really driving to just a fast pace and kind of a high octane offense here, possession to possession. It's really fun to watch, and it's led to a lot of points. If you look at their matchup tonight, they should be able to score and put up a bunch of points on. Did the board game get pulled off the board? Sorry, I'm trying to look up who the Spurs are playing tonight. I don't see it listed here for whatever reason. Hold on. I don't know if anything bad happened here tonight. But again, the Spurs,
did the bad thing happen?
They're hosting the Miami Heat tonight. And actually, I do wonder, that game might be pulled off the board. The Heat are having a couple guys pop up in health and safety protocols. So if you can't find this one, that's why. So they're playing the Heat tonight again. Should be a high-paced game. If this game plays tonight, given who the Heat should have on the floor, I've got the Spurs at almost like 114 points here. So if you can still grab that, go ahead. But it looks like that one might get pushed or canceled. We'll see what happens tonight. See if the Heat can get 8 guys together.
Get a few guys together, go out, play some ball, hit the gym. Yeah, it stinks when they get canceled so late. It's one thing when they're canceled like 3 days ahead of time. Then you haven't spent time handicapping and looking at things. But
we'll see. We got lucky on one of these earlier in the week, so
yeah.
If they play, the Spurs should put up a number.
When I spend all day breaking down UCLA and North Carolina State, and they pull this on me. So,
other basketball.
Other basketball.
They're playing. They're back.
Playing. I was saying this to Dan. It was depressing. My first step was just kind of washing my schedule of the games that aren't actually going to be played, and it was like half of them. I still managed a 6-pack. I just put it in on the BETSPERTS app a minute ago. I'm rusty. Somebody actually DM'd me, and I'm like, oh shit, I haven't put these in my tracker yet on BETSPERTS because I haven't made a lot of plays lately. We had 3 or 4 days off for Christmas. I only really did one yesterday. If you remember, I think I said, hey, I have an edge on the over and on the side, but it was a bigger edge on the side, so I'm going to play that. Of course, the over hit. And my 4.5 point dog lost by 10. Had one other look too. The leans are doing real good right now. That's one of those things that definitely gets into your head.
We're familiar with that.
Hard. Yeah, I'm familiar with this. I've played this game before with my brain. My brain is not enjoying it. Delaware. I'm laying. I tried to bet it as a 4-point favorite. It moved to 4.5 when I bet, which is always another annoying little thing. Playing UNC Wilmington. Outside of William and Mary, UNC Wilmington is the worst at everything in the Colonial. They are the second worst offense, second worst defense. I have them probably ranked as my worst defense, even though some places don't. Delaware is probably a legit threat to maybe make a run at the Colonials bid between Taos and Hofstra, maybe even Northeastern, James Madison thrown in there. So this is a very good team for the Colonial. Like they're still, it's probably ranked somewhere in the 180th range throughout all of basketball, but it is a much, much better team. It is one of those where you have Delaware is really, really good offensively. They make their free throws. I talk about this a lot when I'm betting dogs. I love taking a dog when the favorite is shitty at free throws. Delaware makes 78.8% of their free throws. Wilmington makes about 63. Wilmington really, really, really bad from 3. 2, the line, effective field goal percentage kind of goes with all that. And outside of that, they're just kind of a stinky team. So Delaware minus 4.5 on the road. I like this quite a bit. Memphis, Tulane. Tulane and Tulsa are teams that mix up a lot. So it was helpful that I bet both their overs today because I have been known to mix them up. But yes, we're getting towards the start of, and maybe I should, people keep asking, when are you going to up your units? I'm like, I don't know, when the world figures out Omicron, I guess. But I said the beginning of league play, so I guess I should because this is another league game between them and Memphis. Memphis runs a very fast pace. They turn the ball over a lot, which might be nice for Tulane. Tulane was a team I bet on a lot last year, but a couple of decently paced teams here. I have this model a lot closer to 150, and I think a lot of it is just based on Memphis being a lot better of a team, and people think Tulane won't be able to hang or score on them. But if they're going to turn the ball over, give Tulane other opportunities, I think they could probably get into the 70s themselves. Like I said, I think I had this like 77, 71, somewhere in there, close to it. I almost looked to the side here, but like the total a bit better. We know how that goes when I can't decide. Tulsa, Oklahoma, another AAC matchup between kind of an also-ran and a better team. SMU is not as good as Memphis, obviously. They're still a decent team in the AAC. In fact, I think they're probably maybe on the outside, maybe an outside shot of making an at-large if they have a nice run through their tournament. They shoot the ball very well. They're a top 50 offense. SMU is. And then Tulsa is good enough. They're a good enough offense to hang with them. They run a little bit of a slower pace, but I like it with the quicker pace of the better team kind of dictating things. I have this again closer to like 146, 147. I think there's some value there. Sacred Heart, Long Island under 148. This is a bit of a scary. These unders are both kind of scary. I don't know how I feel about Sacred Heart. That's Dan's territory up in Connecticut, taking on the Long Island Tiger Sharks or whatever. Long Island's just a really, really, really bad. It's one of those fast-paced but can't hit a shot. It's cool. Yeah, the Sharks and the Pioneers. That was like the very first shark attack that the Pilgrims suffered up there. The Sharks and the Pioneers. But Sacred Heart, slower pace, but also not that good of an offense. So I like them to slow down the pace. LIU not to be able to use their up tempo. probably just continue to miss as many shots as they normally do. They had a couple of higher scoring games, but one was against the Merchant Marines, which is not Division I, obviously, and then the Army game was a little wonky, I thought. So looking for Sacred Heart to come back, or excuse me, LIU to come back to earth a little in their scoring, like the under here, and then I double dipped, which never goes well. Bryant overs were a thing last year. Bryant was kind of a sneaky team that people weren't getting with, and all their scores were popping into like the 160 sometimes. But it's another one where, hey, this is a fast-paced team, but they can't shoot the ball. They don't shoot well from three. They're again pretty bad free throw shooting team. They get a lot of offensive rebounds, but hopefully they just pass back. I don't love it when it's a fast-paced team that offensive rebounds well. It's not usually a super extended possession. Then they end up shooting quickly again. But their opponent, the Central Connecticut Blue Devils, not to be confused with Duke, is a bit of a slower-paced team. And again, can't shoot for shit from anywhere. Very, very bad offense. The worry here is that both defenses are a little minus. So hopefully the shooting is shitty, the rims stay on, and really hopefully some rust. Like Bryant's last game was December 11th. And Central Connecticut's was the 18th. We're seeing some of that when teams come back. I'm not sure how much these teams practice. So under 143.5 for me there. Connecticut plus 10. Just for the podcast listeners, I'm not sure I listed them all. Delaware minus 4.5. Tulane over 142. Tulsa over 141. Long Island under 148. And then, of course, CCSU plus 10 and under 143, 144.
I like it. Got a lot of stuff today this afternoon.
Voluminous
basketball. I got college football degeneracy going on. A bunch of basketball tonight. Oh boy.
I might even bet Man City wins to nil. It's like minus 135, minus 140.
I love late random soccer handicapping.
Brentford is my team, but they are not. Outside of they had the Liverpool match where they dropped 3 on their ass. Outside of that, they've played very poorly against top sides. Nobody's more of a this is probably the best team in the world. Manchester City. It doesn't matter if you're at home. You're playing the best team in the world. Maybe look at lineups, see how they line up here. But to win to nil should probably be like minus 175. So I think I might get involved in some afternoon soccer. I think the other match is Chelsea Brighton. You got 2 heavy favorites. You know what to do with that if you want to get weird. Put them in a money line parlay with Oklahoma. Have fun with that. Soccer, what could go wrong? Ties?
Nah,
nothing. That's what ruins money line parlays is betting soccer in them because there's always some sneaky tie, and they call it a draw.
I know. So, it sounds more fun as a draw. Maybe we'd be less anti-tie. We call them draws.
11 basketball bets from us. A halfway soccer bet, 3 or 4 football bets. It was a heavy day for us. Good job to us. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll have Fleek in to talk some football. And we'll catch you then. Thanks a lot. Hit the thumbs up. Bye.